Hi, everyone. Welcome to our One World Energy Encounter with the Zohar. Today, this week's portion is the portion of Kedoshim, which means it's plural for holy, as in holy people. And in our Zohar, it's volume 16, paragraph 78. As we always do, let's invite in the lineage of Kabbalists and righteous souls of tzaddikim, inviting in the Rav and Karen and Michael, Rav Ashlag, Rav Brandwein, the Ariya Kodesh, the Ramchal, Rabbi Tarfon, Rav Av Mazulai, Rav Menachem Mendel of Vitebsk, Rav Kolonima Shapira Pia Setzlan, the Baal Shem Tov, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and all the students, Rav Mordechai of Chernobyl, one soul with Yosef Tzaddik, Joseph the Righteous in Shechem. Today is the second day of Iyar, the month of Taurus, and also it's the anniversary of elevation of two very noteworthy righteous souls, Rav Avram Dovber Oyerbach of Chmelnik, who was a student of the Baal Shem Tov, and also Rav Natan Neta Shapira, the Mavo Sha'arim, someone who Michael quotes quite often. So we're going to ask for, and of course have their assistance as we delve into these verses of the Zohar and look to unearth deep wisdom and deep spiritual energy, not for ourselves just. No, we want to receive this for the sake of sharing it with the world. And while we're at that, let's keep a consciousness of understanding that as we connect to these verses of the Zohar, we are connecting to the upper realm. We're connecting to the level of Binah, the world of fulfillment, the Garden of Eden consciousness. And so in that flawless universe, we have the opportunity to channel into our world all kinds of fulfillment and energy. So first, let's think about is energy of healing for all those who we know who need healing, energy of assistance to those souls that are transitioning, also energy to end the war, all wars on our planet, but specifically the war in Israel, and also the war between Russia and Ukraine. Also, we want to channel the energy necessary for the safe release of all the hostages in Israel. We also want to channel the energy of Ahavat Chinam, unconditional love for everyone in the world, and the energy of treating everyone with human decency. Also, the energy to remove chaos from our world and protection from evil eye and evil speech. Okay, verse 78. So before we actually read the verse, this week of Kedoshim, the portion starts out in the 5 books of Moses in the Torah with Kedoshim Tiyu. This is sounds like a directive coming from the Creator for us to be holy. Well, what does that mean exactly? So one of the things our teachers tell us, it's not holy Holy, it's holy Wholy, meaning whole, meaning wholesome, meaning complete, meaning not limited by our ego, not looking at this as a world of limitations, but connecting to our full self, which is that we're not physical beings about to have a spiritual experience here, hopefully. We're spiritual beings who are having a physical experience. We're spiritual beings. We want to connect at a soul level to everything that we do and to everything that we encounter. And to do that also means to come and bring a higher level of awareness, show up with a higher level of energetic vibrations, a higher vibrational frequency, and elevated consciousness. Because when we do that, not only do we connect to our souls, but we elevate what's taking place in the world. And we channel more of that energy that we talked about, where we set our intention at in just moments ago. And so throughout the study together today, let's consciously seek to show up with a greater and higher and elevated consciousness. And that means not getting tied up into our ego, to our fears, to our worries, to our seeing the cup as half full, as half empty as opposed to half full, to our anxiety, to our uncertainty, We want to, those are lower level consciousness. Those are lower levels of vibrational frequencies. We don't want to be there. We want to be at a place where we're channeling energy of peace and energy of healing and energy of understanding and energy of unconditional love for the world and in the world and about the world. That's where we want to consciously be, and that's where we want to set our consciousness as we connect to these verses. Okay, verse 78. Tachazeh. Asir le lavar nash lis takla be'atar yikucha brichu ma'is be urechika be nafshe umma b'madarachim kucha brichu asir lis takla be b'madarachik al avod kochavim tetachazeh asir le lavar nash li takla bekeshet begin di'iu chezo de diukna ila'a asir le lavar nash lis takla be'at kayama delay begin Dehu ramiz l'tzadikaya de alma. Asir le lavar nash lis takla betzban de chahane b'sha'ata de farse yedahu. Begin de taman shaya yakara de malka ila'a. Umad atar kadisha ila'a. Asir le takla be'atar mis'achba rechika la kol sheken. Beginei kach al tifnu el ha'elilim. Rabbi Yitzchak Amar Umal istakla b'hu asir lemiflach lehu o lemebad lehu al achat kama v'chama. Ron.
Come and behold, it is forbidden to man to look at a place that the Holy One, blessed be He, loathes, and his soul is far from it.
And his soul is far from it. What? What does that mean? What? First of all, so on a literal level, let's start off with the literal level. It's forbidden to look at a place that the Creator loathes. Well, I know what looking is, and know what forbidden to look means, but what is a place that the Creator loathes? What could that possibly mean? Isn't the Creator a being of constant sharing and unconditional love? Yes. What does it mean that loathes means that he hates? What does it mean that the Creator loathes some place? So we're back with our old friend, the anthropomorphism. This is an anthropomorphism is a human emotion that's projected on the Creator or being projected by the Creator. Why? Or be projected as an explanation so that we can relate. We know what it means to hate. We know what it means to loathe. So we're trying to come closer to what it means that the Creator loathes. And our working assumption here is that the Creator doesn't loathe anything. The Creator only has unconditional love. However, we live in a world which is fragmented, which means it looks like the light of the Creator shows up in different places and at different times in different concentrations, in different polarities, with different levels of strength. So a place that the Creator loathes will be a place which has a low level of the Creator's light. Someplace that his, capital H, soul is far from, meaning literally that's what the proof is here. There's a low level of creative light, of the Creator's light. Why would there be a low level of light there? This kind of goes back to the whole creation story, which prior to creation, the light of the Creator was in equal proportions in all points of reality. There was no fragmentation. The Creator's light was in full power everywhere. And then what happened was, and this is the Kabbalah of the Arizal, of Rav Isaac Luria, otherwise known as Lurianic Kabbalah. This is like, there was a symptom, there was the great restriction. The Creator pulled his light back so we could have a world where we could earn the light. So we don't perceive the Creator's light. We have to work to connect to the Creator's light because we wanted to earn stuff. We didn't want it falling in our lap. And that goes to the whole conversation of lechem bizayon, of this idea that we want to earn the bread that we have. We don't want it to be unearned. We don't want the light to be unearned. We ask actually for the opportunity to earn the Creator's light. So we have fulfillment. So it's sustainable. So part of what this is about for us, and I think our first important takeaway is, yeah, you're going to experience places and things where, and consciousness where there's low light. We don't want to be there. We don't want to be there physically. We don't want to be there consciously. So it reminds me of one of the things one of our teachers said this week, David Guillaume said, it's like when you leave your house every day, you don't want to leave coming from a place of lack. I'm going out because I need the following things. You want to leave your house with a consciousness of fulfillment. I have the things. I have everything I need. I have companionship. I have love. I have partnership. I have my health. I have financial security. I have emotional security. I have all those things. I want to come from a place of having those things. And I'm just leaving because I need to share my light in certain ways with the world around me. That is us approaching life from a place of fulfillment. So our first takeaway here is we don't want to show up where there's lack, either physically in a space, looking at a place where there's lack. That place might be my head. It's a consciousness of lack, which is a low vibrational frequency. And you know it when you encounter people. You can tell who are people who are showing up and they got all kinds of light to share. And those who show up who are needy, who are looking for others' light. They're not connecting to their light. They're coming from a place of lack. They're showing up with a place of lack. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just they're receiving. We want to show up in all ways as beings who are receiving our light to share with the world around us. And that means showing up with a positive, cheery disposition. And I don't mean like, with rose-colored colored glasses. I mean, really, I want to feel my light. I want to feel my positivity. I want to always show up with my positivity. And when we show up with our negativity, people perceive that. People perceive us when we show up coming from a place of lack. And people generally want to be with people who, when they're sharing, with others sharing. Like if I show up coming from a place of fulfillment in my life, I will attract like seeks out like. I will attract more positive people in my life. And the universe will just, the way it'll work out, less negative people will show up. So the more I show up coming from a place of fulfillment, whether I'm in fact whether or not I sense that fulfillment or not, it's there. It's all there. So we started talking about it. We're connecting to the realm of fulfillment. I know, but my Comcast, my internet's down, and I can't get on any of my devices, and I'm struggling today. No, your internet is connected. You're having a problem connecting with it, but it is connected. You still want to show up coming from a place of fulfillment, not getting caught up in all these 1% things that are in process. I know your internet is down, but it's on a certain level, it'll be back up. And so from a spiritual perspective, it is already up. It's in the process of going back up. I don't feel the soulmate energy. I know you don't. You're right. I know that's how it feels. But to that degree, that feeling is misleading because soulmate energy is out there. It's in potential. It's in the realm of fulfillment. We need to connect to the realm of fulfillment to channel that. And we connect to the realm of fulfillment by showing up as fulfilled. It is there. My internet is back up. My fulfillment, my soulmate is there. and I'm showing up like I'm connecting to it right now, because that's how we manifest it. When we show up coming from a perspective of fulfillment, it makes the connection to our fulfillment materialize. And that's what our teachers tell us. I know, but there's going to be challenges along the way. We're going to get bombarded with negative energy from the other side that's trying to take our light and get us to show up as coming from a place of lack. And so when we show up with coming from a place of lack, we attract lack into our life. So a major, major takeaway from right here. How do I show up holy? I show up as complete. I show up as fulfilled. We're supposed to show up as fulfilled. That's holy, WHOLLY. And we need to work to show up that way, because we ask for a world where we could experience lack so that we could work on connecting to our fulfillment, connecting to our wholeness, so we could manifest that light and earn that light. Yes, Roshin, I see your hands up.
Okay, so are we talking about what is more popularly known as the law of attraction?
Yes, we to a certain degree we are. Yes.
Okay.
I think it's more than that, but maybe it's because I don't understand the law of attraction as well as I think I do. But yes, we will, the way we show up is what will show up in our life. Like attracts like. And so if I want more of the Creator's light in my life, I need to show up with more of the Creator's light in my life. I need to show up coming from a place of fulfillment. I know my soulmate energy is there. I know it's there. And I'm showing up like I know it's there, because it is. I know, Dave, that's a little bit of a leap, because I'm telling you, I'm actually alone right now. You're not. No, literally, you're not alone. That's an illusion. That soulmate is there. That's the way we want to show up. Yes, I know at a 1% physical level, you literally are alone, but that could change in an instant. And if we're not showing up, coming from a place of wholeness, we won't be aware that it changed. We're too busy in lack. So this is not easy. This requires work. What kind of work? Conscious work. Where am I right now? First, let's do a self-check. Where is my consciousness right now? And how do I if I notice that I'm not in a positive place, how do I get there? Well, find a way to connect to positivity. Well, Zohar is one way. This thing is channeling all kinds of positive energy. And if it's not that, maybe it's a book I need to read, or a poem I need to read, or even going to buy a new pair of shoes. I don't know, but find a way to start the momentum of positivity. Maybe I just need to change my shirt. Maybe it's a negative shirt. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's not. Like, everything's conducting energy. David Guillaume and others have also talked about, actually, I heard Elisheva Ballas talk about this week. Also, it's like, you pick up a piece of the clothing, it doesn't feel positive, don't put it on. You just actually put that energy on. So part of it is like developing more awareness about what we're perceiving, about what we're feeling, so we can sense when we're not in the most positive place and do the things we need to do to move into that positive space. Literally, positive space. Look at the place. Okay, let's continue.
Now, if it is prohibited to look at what the Holy One, blessed be he, loves, then that which is far from him is even more forbidden.
So not only are we being directed to, the language was a little challenging here, the translation, but not only are we not supposed to look at something that Creator loathes, we shouldn't look at something the Creator loves. Well, I started with the whole conversation thinking he loves everything. His unconditional love is everywhere. His positivity is everywhere. So, like, I know, but it appears to us to be fragmented. So we're just going to work with that assumption. But what does it mean that a place that the Creator loves? What is love? Well, it's a much more intense form of like. That's for sure. So in a place, what is it when we're like something? It's the same energy. What is it when we love something? It's the same energy, it's just more intense. So like these are places where the light of the Creator is an overabundant, intensely positive. Why can't we look there? We just talked about staying, trying to connect to positivity. Why would we not want to look at a place like, because at both ends of the spectrum, they're problematic. It needs to be balanced. That's what the Zohar is telling us. And the Zohar will give us some examples, which we'll talk about. But just so we understand, we need balance. Life is all about balance. Should I never judge? Well, left column judgment. I mean, I don't know about judgment. I need discretion. I need appreciation. I need to be able to see where I need to have boundaries. I need to be able to see where I have to use restriction. I cannot share my light with everyone. If I don't construct appropriate boundaries, I will get tapped out and end up in a negative place coming from lack. So part of this is like should I be merciful, right calm with everyone? No. It's Tiferet, it's central calm, it's balance. When we have that balance, the channels open up. It's balance. The channels to the upper realm, the energy of blessing opens up. Another way for us to connect is just grounding. We need to be grounded. When we're grounded, the channels are open. We're able to connect. We're able to maintain a consciousness of coming from a place of fulfillment. Okay, keep going.
Come and behold, it is forbidden to man to look at a rainbow as it reflects a supernal image. Since Malchut has the three colors of the rainbow, being the secret of her three columns.
Okay, so this idea is that we need to connect to supernal energy. We need to connect to the upper realm. And so some things that we connect to are not necessarily going to assist us with that. And so the Zohar is saying that's a little bit problematic. The rainbow actually means that judgment is being withheld. There's a story, which is appropriate to this conversation. We're reading the Zohar. It was channeled by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. There's a story that when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was one of the most elevated souls to ever walk the earth, author of the Zohar. There's this understanding that when he was alive, no rainbows ever appeared on earth. What? He was affecting the weather? No, it's not the weather. It's not weather related. It's energetic. And a rainbow is an indication that judgment is being withheld. Remember, Shimon was walking around the world, there didn't need to be judgment to be withheld because his energy, frequency, his elevation was so great that the world was elevated during that time period. And it's important to understand that because, well, what about now? We don't have the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai walking the earth and his energy. No, we don't, but we have the Zohar. And the Zohar is infused with his energy. So one way of removing judgment from the earth is connecting to the Zohar. Let's continue.
Okay, also, it is forbidden to man to look at his member of the sign of the covenant, as it hints about the righteous of the world.
Okay, so another extreme aspect of positivity is actually where the Brit Milah, circumcision, takes place. That's the member that's being referred to. We're not supposed to look at that either. Is it a problem if we see it? Again, it's like they're in our fragmented world, these are places of extremes. And it's a funny thing about circumcision, because on the one hand, it's like we're maiming an 8-day-old child. I mean, how else can you look at it? Seriously. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Let's call it out. Doesn't it appear at some level to be like we're maiming an 8-day-old child? Well, that's a 1% perspective. On the 99% level, we're perfecting the child. Removal of foreskin actually perfects the child. They're born with an extra something that's being removed. It's not maiming, it's elevating. And that's the Kabbalistic perspective. So again, though, that's something that we don't want to necessarily draw too much attention to. It's an extreme level of positive energy and might not be able to be balanced. And again, this is all about balance. Okay, continue.
And also, it is forbidden to look at the fingers of the priests when they spread their hands, since there rests the glory of the supernal king.
Okay, so there is a time during our connections on holidays and other times where the Kohanim, the priests who are members of the congregation, who are, we are doing the connection with, they go up to the front of the connection room and bless the congregation. They channel energy of healing. To this day, they still can channel that energy of healing. And the practice is for us to cover our eyes when they're doing that. Again, it's a very intense level of energy, and we need balance. And so by covering our eyes, we're creating the filament to balance that energy, because it's a highly intense level of positive energy. Yes, Ron.
So is that just a Kabbalistic practice, or is it also done in Judaism?
Yeah, it's a universal practice. Yes. So if you show up in synagogue, in any Orthodox synagogue, certainly, I'm not sure, even probably conservative synagogues, I'm not sure what goes on beyond that. When the priestly blessing is done, everyone covers their eyes. They take their talit and they pull it over their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And pull their kids in. Sometimes they pull their friends in, Yeah. And it's a filament. It's like we're all about restriction. There's positive energy. I need a filament to manifest that. I need restriction to manifest it in this world. Okay,
So
let's
are
continue.
we
Yes.
also literally supposed to look at a rainbow?
Yeah, so like I know we do look at rainbows. It's probably it's cautionary.
Okay.
It's cautionary. I mean, look, I know people like there's an old, well, it's a dumb joke. I'm not gonna tell it. There are people that like, I peeked, I looked at the priest's hands, and I'm fine. Yeah, I'm sure you're fine. It's just not the best way to conduct that energy. It's not optimal. There is a blessing that we say on the rainbow. I don't think I'm going to be able to put my hand on it too quickly. But there is a blessing for that.
Okay.
Just like there's a blessing that we say on the moon in the first 2 weeks of every astrological month, of every Kabbalistic month.
Mm-hmm.
Are we praying to the moon? No. We're connecting to the reflective energy of the moon.
No, that's not the blessing of the new moon, though, right? Or is it?
No, it's not actually.
Okay.
It's not. And when you say the blessing, there's a part where you look at the moon and then you're not supposed to look at till the end of the blessing. I mean, even with the moon, again, we're connecting to energy. These are channels of energy. The priest's hands, channel of energy. Rainbow, channel of energy. Moon, channel of energy. Circumcision, channel of energy. This is all about us creating balance, connecting to it in a balanced way. So the second major takeaway from us, other than these little directives, is like we get the opportunity here for balance in our life. Balancing right column and left column, balancing mercy and judgment, balancing unconditional love and appreciation, balancing a connection to the upper realm and restricting so that it's a level of energy that I can handle and I can manifest in a healthy spiritual way. That's part of it. And again, by doing this, this is us creating a wholeness within ourselves, a balance within ourselves. Okay, let's continue.
So if in a supernal holy place it is forbidden to look, then in a distant, unclean place, it certainly is prohibited to look.
Yeah, I mean, these are extremes. Again, this is our fragmented world. This is the world in which you live. We need to be aware of the energy that's there and conduct ourselves. It's funny, conduct ourselves means we show up in a certain way. But conduct also means channel, like conduit. This is all about how we show up and how we are a channel, receiving for the sake of sharing, receiving with balance, not just receiving for the sake of myself, receiving for the sake of sharing. So we channel more positive energy into the world. And consequently, more positive energy we will also benefit from. But as opposed to thinking about myself singularly, I want to channel that energy because I want to elevate the world. I want to elevate the world's consciousness. I want more healing for the world. I want more unconditional love in the world. I want more understanding and treating people with human decency in the world. That's what this is about. That's what we're talking about. That's the opportunity we have this week in this week's portion. And that is in part all these sections, but this particular Zohar portion is helping us to connect in that way. Okay, keep going.
For this reason, turn not to idols, Vaikra 19:4. Rabbi Yitzhak said, if looking at them is prohibited, then to worship them or make them is all the more so.
Okay, I'm not gonna worship them, but what's the big deal? You know, I have idolsrus.com and I sell them online. Really, what's the big deal? Well, okay, Zohar's telling us it is a big deal. We don't want to be connected in any way, shape, or form to idols. Seriously? I mean, is it a problem if, I have a statue of a lion on the front, on two statues of lions in my front steps? That's the thing that comes to mind. Is that a problem? Is that an idol? So what an idol is, just so we're clear, we've talked about this before, but what an idol is an object that I attach specialness to, separate and apart from the light of the Creator. So one of the words that's actually used by the Zohar and other classic texts when it describes idol worship is avodat kochavim, which literally means to do service to the stars, to turn my attention to the stars, to pray to the stars for answers. People used to pray to the sun and pray to the moon. They saw those as gods. That's idol worship. But wait, I just said we pray to the moon. There's also prayers we say about the sun. No, we see those as channels. So the difference between idol worship and Kabbalistic practices is, do you see it as the channel? That's Kabbalistic practice. Or do you see it as the source? That's idol worship. Okay. Let's try one more. Verse 79. Uveginekach al tifnu el ha'elilim. Hach atal az hara l'chuli yishro v'kadmeta. L'kavel lo yiyeh l'cha elokim achrim al panai. V'elokei masecha lo tasu lachem. L'kavel lo ta'aseh l'cha pesel. Ani Hashem Elokechem. L'kavel anochi Hashem Elokecha. Ish imo ve'aviv tira'u. L'kavel kabet et avicha bet imecha. Bet shabtatai tishmoru. Zachor et yom hashvalakacha. Lo ti shavu bishmei l'shaker. By the way, we're going through the 10 Commandments right here. So this is a direct connection to Moses on Mount Sinai when he received the 10 Commandments, and that was a connection to immortality. So in this section here, our takeaway as I continue to read this connection to immortality, to manifesting immortality in the world. Lo tisa et shem Hashem Elokecha l'sha, lo tignovu, lo tignov, v'lo techachashu, v'lo tishakru ish ba'amito. Lo ta'aneh b'reacha ad shaker, mot yuma tanoef hano'afet, lo tin'af. Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa, lo tirtach v'ha'ukmua, v'yada klala, do raita, v'farshata da. Ron?
For this reason, turn not to idols. Here it comes to warn Israel, as it did in the beginning, in the 10 Commandments. For turn not to idols corresponds to, you shall have no other Elohim beside me.
Okay, so what the Zohar is telling us is like, this is an important point. It's so important that it's actually in the 10 Commandments. What are the 10 Commandments? What does that represent? Just like a little cheat sheet on like how to conduct your life. We know that there's actually 613 commandments. So what's the deal with the 10? And so 613 is not for everybody. You know, if you need a little cheat sheet, you go to the 10. Is it like, you know, I don't know. No, that's not what it is. It represents a connection to the 10 Sfirot. 10 is always the 10 Sfirot. And the 10 Sfirot represent the full-on energy of the Creator as it finds its way into our realm. That's what the 10 Sfirot are. 10 parallel channels of energy. Or as the Rav used to always say, energy consciousness that informs our world, that influences our world, that fills up our world. There's 10 levels. They manifest as directives. It's actually not the 10 Commandments, it's the Aseret Dibrot, it's the 10 utterances. It's like, just like we speak and we manifest energy, these are super highly charged channels of energy, so much so that we had manifested immortality at Mount Sinai prior to the golden calf, where we kind of took another fall and lost immortality with the ability to connect to it. It's still there. So what the Zohar is telling us is, and we're not going to have time to go through it, but it's going through these 10 commandments so we have a deeper understanding and deeper connection to those aspects of the light of the Creator as it arrives in our world. And I want to close with, because we're out of time, we as spiritual beings interacting with the world through a position of physicality, with our 5 senses, our sense of touch, our sense of sight, our sense of smell, our sense of taste, our sense of hearing. We are interacting with the world, that these are filters. We're interacting with 1% of reality. And so much of our work involves growing in our perceptual abilities to connect to more than the 1%. And so, because the more we connect and the more and greater awareness we have about the world around us in a deeper way, the more connected to our soul we are, the more we can perceive about what's going on, and the better decisions we can make about the challenges we have in our life and how we are best to navigate them. Okay, we're out of time. So we'll end on that point. Love you all. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much.
Shabbat shalom. Thank
Shabbat
you.
Shalom. Thank you.
Safe flight, Ellen.
Safe flight, Ellen.